is in private. The conference is now in presentation mode.
So good morning, good afternoon or good evening wherever you are, and very welcome to this webinar supporting the idea economy in the world of finance, IntellQA with HPE Mobile Center. This is part of the Post-Discover Summit 2017. So we look forward to hearing a seminar that took place in London last year. This is of course hosted by Hewlett-Packard as well. And my name is Lena Berlin. I'm a sales manager at InnovaPrime in Sweden. InnovaPrime is a partner to HPE Software. And I'm also part of the local user group for Vivid in Stockholm, Sweden. And today I have the great pleasure of introducing Paul Kay, who is the Managing Director of IntellQA. It's a leading Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Gold partner that specializes in application delivery management. IntellQA works closely with HPE to ensure they are on the front edge of the curve of exciting new product developments such as Mobile Center, UFT, LeanFT, and the new ALM. We also have highly experienced consultants who ensures that the company delivers to his expanding standards. Just before I hand over to Paul, if you would like to enlarge on the screen, just press the button where you see the arrow. And this live session is, of course, intended for all Vivid members. It will be recorded and posted in the webinar section on the Vivid website, visible for all members. And additionally, today's slide deck and webinar recording will be made available to you. We will send you the link via email once they are posted on the Vivid website. And if you would like to ask a question, please just type the question in the Q&A pane and click on Ask. You can also choose the language in which you would like to ask your questions, and it will be translated into English. So I think I will hand over to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much, Lana. Okay, so as Lana was saying, this is a session that we initially ran at Discover last year. The session was run in conjunction with WorldPay, one of our clients, and we did this together with a number of companies. So it was really great to do this at Discover with Naeem Mohammed of WorldPay, who's a colleague and did an excellent job of presenting there. Naeem's not with me today, and I'm going to miss him, but we'll go for it anyway. The partners involved in this are WorldPay, the client, Endava, and IntellQA, and of course Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. And what the thread of this is really around the idea economy and having an idea and then being able to run with it. And of course it's in the world of finance because WorldPay are a major payments company. So I'm now going to describe a little bit about WorldPay and the importance of the organization really and how they are positioned. So WorldPay is a leading payments company with global reach. I'm sure that most people in the UK certainly and in many parts of the world will have heard of WorldPay. WorldPay themselves have an extensive range of technology-led payment products, and as with many companies, the technology is absolutely key, and the leading place in that technology really is of importance and really matters to them. They deliver products and services to over 400,000 customers, which is a significant number of customers. It's a massive number of customers. And what they do is they provide the payment platforms that enable businesses to really grow and prosper. So IntellQA as a customer, we also use WorldPay products. We use WorldPay Zinc, which we'll see later, and we process credit card payments from individuals for training courses, and we find the products really good. And so, both as a supplier to WorldPay and as a customer of WorldPay, it's really great to work with them. And the complexity of the payment world is it's a highly complex environment. The level of complexity is always increasing, And using WorldPay products means that the customers are able to use the technology and able to benefit from it without having to have without having to have the downside because the company's already doing it for them. WorldPay are looking after them. And WorldPay is a company that allows the widest range of payment types to be accepted, and that's across the world. So there's some impressive numbers there, really, because using the network and using the WorldPay network and WorldPay technology, they're able to process payments from geographies covering 99% of global GDP, which is a massive amount when you think about it. And that's across 146 countries and 126 currencies. And they enable customers to accept more than 300 payment types. So that's a significant company and excellent client. So if we have a look at another infographic which Naeem presented at Discover to set a little bit more context, there's some really impressive statistics on here. The #1 international payments acquirer, they've processed 13.1 billion transactions, which is a massive amount of transactions. And if you use a credit card for payment in the UK, there's a high proportion of credit card payments that actually go through the WorldPay systems. And as with anything, then the level of expertise is not, you don't just turn up and become a payments company, a leader in modern money as WorldPay are overnight. There's 30 years of experience and investment in there. So to put that in context, then you've got 30 years of development, and IntellQA itself, our consultants, have been using the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise product set for around 20 years. And so, you've got a lot of expertise in payments and a lot of expertise in HPE products all coming together to be able to do the solutions that we're going to talk about. And you've got a wide range of products being used, being made available from the smallest clients, from single stores and individuals using mobile point-of-sale solutions, through to major retailers. And TK Maxx was one of the customers that Naeem mentioned, but I know that there are very many more. And some of them that I'm aware of, I'm just really impressed by how fast the payment actually goes through. You can see if you use a card in a retail store that's using a WorldPay solution, then the transaction time can be it is typically really, really fast. So 400,000 merchants, 126 currencies. It's all an impressive undertaking. So hopefully that's given a good perspective on WorldPay, and I hope that I've represented them well, as Naeem did at Discover. So let's have a look at what the presentation's all about, which is the mobile application world and the area that we're addressing. So WorldPay has a number of what are called MPOS, mobile point-of-sale solutions that are available. There are 3 that are represented on here. These are the current ones. So WorldPay Zinc was launched in 2013, and really that one's designed for small businesses and sole traders, and it provides a means to be able to take card payments. And this is the one that I've used myself, and IntellQA as a company has used, being able to take payments for training courses, which and I've got to say it's really simple to use and really effective. So we've used the product ourselves, and I can recommend it. The next one is WorldPay Total Mobile, which it's a payment device that you use with a tablet or a smartphone app, and it's a solution that it's an end-to-end payment solution, so you're able to benefit from all of the analytics and see when people make purchases and see trends and such. And it's used in a variety of businesses. So as the infographics alluding to, you can use the solution in busy retail stores, so you can reduce queues at tills by being able to take payments from within the queue, from within the pad, with the customer paying on their payment device. And it can be used out on the road, allowing upfront payments to be made from customers for a variety of sectors, including finance and public sector. And the final solution on there, which is the one which was the focus of the webinar, is My Business Hub. So as you can see, that is a till in effect in this configuration with the pad. Apologies, I've not moved the slide on. So that one is with the pad and the till underneath, with the card payment device on the side, and so it can be used in a retail environment as with a till, and payments can be taken. The other way that this can be used is it can be used out at table scenarios, as we can show later. The system uses Wi-Fi. It's an all-in-one solution that includes the card terminal, the cash register, and the printer, and it's customizable so that people that are using the system can place in their own product catalog. So with whatever the retailer or the merchant offers for sale, they can place as items on that product catalog, and they can then have a really intuitive interface to use from a merchant perspective. The platform does automated cash and card reconciliation, and by using analytics, it provides insight into what's happening. So as customers, as purchases are made, the purchases are all registered as you'd expect, and then merchants are able to analyze past trends and then be able to use the data that they've got to be able to allocate sufficient stock and such for future use. And the platform accepts chip and PIN, it accepts contactless and Apple Pay. So it's a really good solution, and so this is going to be the focus of what we're going to talk about slightly later. Okay, so moving on, these mobile-based platforms are all obviously mobile point-of-sale solutions, the three that we've just spoken about, and so that means that WorldPay has a need for effective mobile application testing. So why is that so important? Well, part of it is really obvious. It's a financial platform, so money is important to everyone. You know, finances are important to everyone, especially to businesses. And so the nature of the test means that the amount of rigor and the amount of precision and the amount of due diligence that goes into the platform testing really matters. And the other side of that is there's potential reputational damage. No one wants to see transactions going missing or anything like this. And so WorldPay invests significantly to make sure that everything that they do is properly tested and properly ready for market, and avoid the reputational damage that would come about from not testing correctly. You've got some other aspects in there, because if we saw the WorldPay Zinc application, the WorldPay Zinc is devised to use on people's own devices, and devices supported include iOS devices, so iPhones and iPads, and also Android devices. And within the marketplace, there's a lot of device fragmentation, particularly within Android, where there are many devices and many OS combinations that are present. There's an excellent book called the Mobile Analytics Playbook, which is written by a couple of guys, one of whom is Antoine Aymer, who I know pretty well, who I've spoken quite a lot to about this subject, and I can recommend to anyone that is on the conference to read that book, and if you would like a copy, we can certainly arrange for a copy using the contact details at the end. The fourth point on the slide is the business desire. So WorldPay is not unlike any other business. There's a relentless drive to serve customer need and to bring the technology benefits that enable them to conduct business better, quicker. And this is a trend that's seen across all industries, the desire to deliver more quickly, and it's forever increasing, as we all know. And so effective testing is essential. So only by doing effective testing can you get the delivery to be able to then get the customers to be able to benefit from what's being produced from a technology perspective. And the final point on the slide is compliance requirements. Obviously, there's finance and payments are highly regulated industries, and there's always a need to perform all the necessary checks and constraints to make sure that everything meets compliance standards and exceeds compliance standards. So that should provide context. If we now go on and we have a look at the solution set that WorldPay has. So this is the part of the presentation that was handed over to me. Naeem thanks me for being involved in the sale of all of these products to them, and we'll go through each of them. What we can see here is there are applications there from Hewlett Packard Enterprise that are familiar to many people. And what the set there is a high-end set. So WorldPay would be the envy of most organizations with respect to Hewlett Packard Enterprise tooling, with application lifecycle management, unified functional testing, mobile center, performance center, and adoption readiness tool. And both IntellQA and Hewlett Packard Enterprise thank them for their investment. If we have a look at the next slide, which is for application lifecycle management, and it's worth having a look at the drivers that brought WorldPay to purchase application lifecycle management. So WorldPay purchased application lifecycle management in 2015, at the beginning of 2015. And key drivers behind this were, the key driver was a major program. So the largest program within WorldPay itself, that was a major transformation program. And this program needed to have effective testing, and the tests within that program are a critical part of it. WorldPay were using alternative solutions that were available, and really struggling in terms of the alternative test management tools that were in use were problematic to use. The people were finding performance difficulties on the UIs, but the biggest killers were reporting and traceability, where it was really being found that the reporting capabilities and the traceability from requirement to test case to test execution to defects where appropriate were all just not adequate. And what that was meaning was that the reporting that was being done, and as you can imagine, a major program as we're discussing here, the reporting's at the most senior level. Then when those reports are being made, then the facts are absolutely essential. And not being able to get those facts because the tooling underneath wasn't adequate was really a problem. And so the people at WorldPay, the senior people, had used Hewlett Packard Enterprise tools before and knew the capabilities there. And they were able to then justify the purchase of ALM and other tools, and then be able to go and use them. And what we found is, what WorldPay has found is, what was taking a significant amount of time in being able to do things, the core of test management, such as the reporting, whereas it was taking a significant amount of time, is now taking minutes to produce. So that's really moved on. And in the Discover presentation, we were discussing with Naeem, and the program this program that we're talking about made its first major go live in 2016, and all is being successful so far. So there's true benefit that's been gained. The ALM was implemented by IntellQA Professional Services, and we made sure that we got this on the ground and working really quickly. The solutions used by 150 people throughout the world as for this one major program, which has a project which has in excess of 50,000 test cases. So that's test cases. The number of test executions is obviously far higher, as you'd expect. And one of the key requirements that that WorldPay had was to be able to integrate with Jira. They were using Jira for defect management and still use Jira for defect management to be able to combine into development teams. And one of the requirements there was that the full integration. IntellQA suggested and sold Casktop Sync to WorldPay, which they've been using successfully for well over a year. And with that, then you can see the number of synchronizations that have been done. So there's 120 synchronizations in December 2016. Obviously, there are more now in 2017. And during Discover, we had WorldPay people in the audience who we confirmed that to be able to dual enter or do anything with those, you just won't be able to do that number without that sort of solution. And the solution's been extended now to include more platforms so that you've got greater collaboration between, for example, application support teams and also more projects. So that's a good thing. Moving on to test automation and unified functional testing. So WorldPay has at its disposal many tools. It's not unified functional testing only. They could use LeanST. They could use other tools. Unified functional testing really is a tool that was selected because it's straightforward to use, and it's particularly straightforward to use with Mobile Center. And we've got a great comment on here from Sharad Jain, who's a great guy that heads up the testing within the Indoor Delivery Center in India. And he was saying that his teams find UFT a great tool to use, really effective, and they're really able to move and develop test cases efficiently using the tool. UFT's moved on since then, and there's exciting announcements around UFT 14 that's just been launched, and we'll be looking at those and then implementing them for WorldPay. A key element of this was that UFT was very much a star of an enabler for what we were able to present at Discover, because UFT, as the API test capability, it also has the ability to drive Mobile Center. And so what we were able to do was to be able to create an integrated test that allowed it allowed a robot and mobile devices all to be driven and then reported back into ALM. And it enabled it to be done quickly and readily, which is a good thing. Mobile Center itself. So Mobile Center WorldPay has been implemented during 2016. Is implemented at WorldPay during 2016, and so the tool was purchased from IntellQA end of 2015, and we basically and IntellQA implemented this. We did this based on our real experience that we'd gained working in many ways. So Mobile Center, as many of you know, is a relatively new tool. It's I think version 1 came in 2014, something like that. And what IntellQA has been doing is we've been working with the R&D pre-sales teams, and we've been working on our own infrastructure and with other clients, of course. And so then we've built up the real expertise and real experience that allowed us to be able to implement it effectively at WorldPay. So the implementation approach that we've provided is highlighted on the flow at the bottom, and this was done. And a key part of this is the WorldPay teams themselves. So there's a team based out in Indore led by Shirad Jain with other guys that you'll see shortly that really have the technical ability, the passion to be able to go and take on new tools and to be able to drive the new tools and to focus and get those new tools working to the benefit of WorldPay, which is really good. It's a real pleasure working with that team. We work with them on a day-to-day basis, and also we've been out indoor with the team, and very much enjoy working with them. The collaboration and the commitment doesn't really finish with the end user team when you're doing this type of activity. So what we're talking about doing here in implementing Mobile Center is implementing a private cloud within a major organization. And so obviously you've got quite a lot of teams to be able to work within there. You've got building management, infrastructure teams, security teams. You've got many people that need to be worked with to be able to get towards an effective solution. And the final part of this is the training. So many tool implementations fail simply because of the usage of the tool. So people take a long time deliberating about which tool to purchase, what investment to make, and then at the end of it, they think that's the end, and then don't really think about how the tool is going to be used, or investing in any training, or working together to establish any common practice. They just go, and then they find that the tool doesn't have this feature or that feature, and then they stop. And WorldPay hasn't done that. WorldPay's invested in training. They've invested in adoption readiness tool, which is from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, which provides an excellent training mechanism. They've bought packages for example, for application lifecycle management that they've used to be able to deliver internal training internally, whereby people are able to access art from the web and then work through the scenarios. And they've also invested in different courses. So IntellQA delivered a specific Mobile Center course for them. And what we did, because we've got the education training capability, is we incorporated into that training course both the basic and advanced UFT courses and all of the relevant Mobile Center elements. And we delivered that on site in India. So it was a good session. The approach, to my mind, worked really well, and to the client's mind, worked really well. It was great to spend time with the team in training rooms and on site, and also in a social context. Going out for street food in India is great fun. It's always enjoyable. So if we move on, we've now got a video of that the team made as a bit of fun. There's a Hewlett-Packard Enterprise marketing video for Mobile Center. This is Arshita. Arshita is one of the lead test engineers, the automation specialist. She recently got married, which is why the rings are prominent. And here she's using UFT with an early version of the Mobile Center with devices that are placed out for demonstration, really, rather than in the secure room. And there we go. So you can see that the team are using them. The team are happy in using the tool, and there's an element of fun in there. Being able to go and do the remake a demonstration is good fun. Okay, so now we'll get to a key point, really, which is the execution time using Mobile Center. The team's been able to reduce the test execution time by 88%, which gives a lot of time back to be able to do other things. So the other things that you can then start to do when you've brought that time back out of the effective automation are the a ability to release more frequently and to test more comprehensively. So by having more time, because you've got the core of the test automated, it obviously frees time to do more. But it also means that you can go faster because it's taken less time to execute your test. You can then be moving on to the next release. The levels of job satisfaction are increased because rather than hitting keys on mobile devices, which is not the most interesting thing in the world to do, and conducting tests where manually, with all the frustrations that entails, so being able to find the device in the first place, when you found the device, it not being configured as you'd like, and all of these frustrations, then you don't have those because the devices are all connected to mobile sensor, all connected, all configured as desired, and so then you can focus on doing the good work, the automation work, plus also good work in terms of manual tests. So rather than just banging the keys and conducting the test cases, you can be looking at analytics from production and finding edge cases that you can recreate using the technology that's available and devise and execute more sophisticated tests and go for more complex scenarios. So in terms of job satisfaction within the team, there's an improvement, and it's very much a good thing. And as I was just starting to allude to there, really, that time gives time to be able to do a more intelligent test approach. So talking to people like Antoine, Antoine talks about interactive testing, which is manual testing, but pushed so that you're able to concentrate really on the end user experience and be able to use factors that come into play, such as the network conditions and the variety of network conditions, to be able to define and run scenarios which you wouldn't have time to do had you been just manually executing the test cases. That's all well and good, but then that would just be a standard mobile sensor implementation, which is okay, but all that is a good mobile sensor implementation. What Naeem set as a challenge was to go and fully automate the transaction, the card transaction. So we saw My Business Hub earlier with the pad and the keypad, and we can see a challenge in there immediately because the Android pad, that's readily automatable using mobile sensor. We can drive the automation on that device, that's fine. The keypad's more difficult. The keypad, where you enter the card into, has a series of security measures. So to be able to use a real keypad, you can't just take the top off and start to take the finger part and then emulate parts of it or anything else, because they're tamper-proof. They've got a range of security measures, and you want to test with real device. You want to test with the real devices. So for this, we needed an innovative solution, and we were talking one day and talked about using robotics, and then came to the idea that went on to be used for this presentation. So this is the My Business Hub being used in a slightly different configuration. Really, you can see that the lady is carrying the pad with the keypad on it, and so you can use it as well as being used as the till. You can use it to go out to tables or go out to anywhere and use it in this configuration. And that was just something that was being demonstrated on the day. If we look at the next slide, then this is all well and good. This is an idea that a few people had, and then what shall we do? How shall we do it? WorldPay has a number of partners. Endava are a particularly strong partner, and working with Endava, they're a really good company. And the three of us really got together. So WorldPay provided the strategic vision for the implementation. IntellQA, we were engaged to really do what we do well, which is to define the integration approach and to drive the implementation. And Endava provided robotics research and implementation. So you've got three different companies there, three different geographical locations, three different styles of company, all working together and to get something done. So the common thing was wanting to achieve something. And so the implementation approach that we came across to make it so that we could emulate the merchants using the mobile center and automate that part of the transaction, then emulate and then combine that with the robotics, was as described on this slide here, where from an approach point of view, the first thing that IntellQA did was we prototyped the approach. So we knew we could work with mobile center. We knew we could work with the devices. What we didn't know there at the time was whether we'd be able to drive this particular device because it's not on the supported list. And this is where the benefit comes in, because we were able to then just connect the device up. We'd chosen to use we'd chosen to use Linux connectors, and we use Linux connectors with minimal installs. And one of the reasons behind that is you can just plug devices in. You don't need to worry about having all the Windows, the drivers for the devices from Windows as you do with Windows, and they go. And we were able to plug the device in. We could see that the mobile center connected with it, and we could see that we'd got good object recognition. So we were good with the pad. The robot was more of a challenge, and the way that we could see that we could work with the robot was to devise a REST API and specify the REST API in collaboration with Endava, and then for Endava to build the robot to the standards defined in the REST API, and then we would put them together. And what we were saying at the time was that really it demonstrates how technology has changed over the years, because we were able to work from different parts of the world, have one common thing, which was the REST API, and be able to then come together very quickly and put the parts together. So after communicating the approach and talking with Endava, then we agreed on an integration day, which was the 7th of November, and that's when we were going to go and have a bit of fun. Endava were going to bring their robot, we were going to bring our mobile center, connect them all together, and away we go. And then be able to use that as really as a technology demonstrator for the next level. So if we have a look at the next slide, then we have information about Endava. So Endava has a research and development capability, and this research and development unit devised the robot. It's a prototype robot, and I believe it's got a name. It's called Jarvis. But this robot was developed with to be accessible via REST API, and provided a means of automating the overall process. So the robot itself can perform individual transaction tests for this single PED, this single payment device at the moment, but there's future plans to increase the number of devices and increase the number of cards, and also use rewritable payment cards so that it extends the testing regime. For the purpose of this was for this demonstration. So if we have a look at the demonstration, then we've got mobile center, we've got a login to the mobile center. Then we've got the actual devices that are available. So we can see on here we've got it's a Lenovo pad, it's My Business Hub pad, and looks very pretty within the mobile center UI, which is good and easy to use. And then on here we can see on the desktop, underneath the desktop, we can see that the UFT is driving the device through test automation, and on the right-hand side you've got the actual device being driven. And so we can see whatever's being done by the test automation is being emulated, is being reflected on the actual device. At this point, it's reached the point, so this is the emulation of the merchant. So far, the merchant's actually entered what's being bought, which was an IntellQA demo, and that IntellQA demo is now being purchased. We don't charge for demos; they're not 49p or whatever it was. But then the robot then takes over, and the robot then goes and enters the PIN on the device. It's inserted the card already, enters the PIN. And so this is then emulating the customer in the store. The mobile part is emulating the merchant using in effect the till. And the PIN entry is done. This was my credit card, so the number's hidden, and people have ensured that I've replaced the card and changed the PIN. So that's all done. And so then the transaction's done, so you can see the transaction went through successfully, and there we are, we have the end. So, this is a simple demonstration, really, of mobile sensor being used to emulate the merchant and UFT driving the robots, but you've got then an end-to-end transaction. And so that demonstrates one case, which is one thing that was being shown at Discover. Obviously, in the real world, there's masses and masses of tests that are performed, and the objective really is to get the 100% automation across pretty much everything. So if we now move on again. Okay. Then, so we can then talk about next steps. So next things that we're actively engaged in now is increased use of analytics. So throughout last year, we were starting to incorporate analytics using Outpulse Mobile, and we're using these to improve to aid the test approach. And with the time that's been brought back from the automation, we can then start to use the analytics to be able to identify where edge scenarios are in production, and then to be able to readily repeat those using the sophisticated technology that's available. For example, if a problem's found working in a lower grade network with lower grade network coverage, then we can emulate that scenario with network virtualization to be able to see if we can recreate it and be able to hit the edge cases and take out those, because every edge case that you take out, it reduces operational cost. So increased use of network virtualization is coming into play, and more widespread use of mobile sensors. So the initial purchase was made at the end of 2015. Further licenses have been purchased, so there's there's a substantial mobile sensor estate available, so that devices can be used by the QA teams across the world. So I hope that provided information, and I hope that it provided a real sense of a journey, really, that we were able to do with being able to take an idea and then be able to go through. And obviously this is one track. There are many tracks, and there's pretty exciting stuff happening, really. Contact details. We've replaced the WorldPay contact details with my contact details here, because obviously we don't want people bombarded with questions from WorldPay, but I'm happy to answer any questions or provide any information and help with anything that you'd wish for. The link at the bottom is a mobile center link, which one of the things that we do find is when the people are starting to consider mobile center, they get to a point and start to really want to know where to start and how to go about that implementation to be able to evaluate the product properly. And we're more than happy to assist with that. And there's a mobile center link at the bottom of there, which enables you to enter your details, and we'll be able to assist you in starting off, really, and doing that evaluation, getting a mobile center up and running for yourselves to see what you can benefit from. And so these details will be available afterwards. I think we're ready to move on to some questions. Hi, Lana.
Thank you very much, Paul. That was very interesting. So let's see if we have some questions here. One question is that what were the major challenges that were faced with this implementation, and how were they overcome?
So the challenges come on multiple levels, really. The technology challenges with the tools themselves have been able to understand the tools. We'd overcome by investing time and investing time in gaining the experience in being able to understand how the tools worked and how the tools fitted together. One of the challenges that we saw was the compatibility between the different versions. And for example, with UFT, we've now got Mobile Center 2.01 patch 1, which requires UFT 12.54. And so what that means is that you need to keep up to date with the typically the latest versions of the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise tools. And within WorldPay itself, IntellQA does the ALM administration, so we administer and look after the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise tools for WorldPay. And so one of the key things that we're always pushing for is to keep up to date with the latest tools, because that enables us to move on quickly. So, for example, Mobile Center 2.2 is coming soon. That will probably have dependency on a UFT version, and we want to be able to move quickly. So by keeping up to date with the tools and by keeping clients' estate up to date with tools, then we can overcome that challenge. The final challenge there really is in thinking about the scope of what we're doing there, because what we're doing in this particular instance is building a private device lab. And so obviously it has challenges with networks, and with there are aspects of it being global networks, and there are security teams to talk to, and so there are aspects. It's straightforward to implement on a desk. To be able to implement it on this scale, it just needs a degree more thoughts, really. And so that was a challenge, but a challenge that was readily overcome, and a pleasure to overcome, really.
Yeah, and I think you just answered one of the other questions, similar. What are the biggest challenges that you've observed when organizations start to consider and evaluate Mobile Center? You mentioned network.
Yeah, that's right. So I partially answered that one, really. I think one of the parts there is what are we aiming to achieve at the end? Are we aiming to achieve some mechanism to have a small development team, a smallish development team, to have access to devices for automation, or are we going to be able to implement something for our global teams? And what are the implications of that? So, it's easy to walk into a tool evaluation with a feature list and start to, does it do this because this does, or does it do that before that does? And I think with the Mobile Center story of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise is particularly good, really, because they started developing from scratch. There are obviously feature lists, and Gartner and Forrester and whoever else will evaluate based on feature lists. So, all the features, they're going to be comparable, and they're designed to be the best available. And I think moving away from the features and the this and the that into what are we actually aiming to achieve with a product to make it useful for our teams and then deliver business benefit is, that's a key part there.
So let's see. We have you mentioned UFT Unified Functional Testing. Was there a desire to use other technologies such as LeanFT or Appium?
Yeah. So the teams got LeanFT, and LeanFT offers some good advantages with the application model in particular, giving the logical representation. We chose UFT in the first instance just because of the ease of use. LeanFT is there, and obviously Mobile Center supports Appium and provides quite a lot of benefits over just using Appium. I think in the future, depending upon really the views with UFT 14, in the future, then the introduction of more tools in conjunction with Mobile Center will come about. and other clients, there's other tools in use as well.
So I'm sure there are more questions, and please don't hesitate to contact Vivid or Paul for those. And so before we end, I would like to thank you very much for giving this presentation. It's been very interesting. And to the audience, before you leave, we have some other things. There will be 2 more sessions coming up that you can register, and I can highly recommend those as well. There is also a very interesting event coming up in Dublin, the 16th to 19th of May in 2017. So this year we go to Dublin for the customer forums, and I hope you will be able to join. There will also be some more information about how to sign up for those seminars in Dublin. And we would be happy if you could complete the short survey and also opt for more information from HPE. So I think if there are no more questions coming in, I think we say thank you very much for joining us today and hope to hear you on the next seminar again. Here is the survey, so please take a few minutes and answer that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.